So this PDF, at least everyone should give around 2-3, like 50-60 hours type to dena chahiye, which is nothing but roughly 3-4 days is what you should give to go through every question. I don't expect you guys to go and write every answer, except like, common questions like why MBA, tell me something about yourself, right? So jaise, if I just zoom this, right? Introduce yourself, then why management, right? Then with specialization, work experience. तो जो ऊपर के ये 3-4 क्वेश्चन है ना, टिल स्ट्रेंथ, वीकनेस एंड हॉबीज, ये सारे क्वेश्चंस को बस लिख लो, because then you would want to send it to your personal mentor and get it reviewed, right? So इसलिए ये सब लिख लो, बाकी सब में लिखने की कोई नीड नहीं है सच. At least write those 3-4 stories which is personal stories, and then try to map it कि यार अच्छा biggest failure में this is the story number 1 is going to add, and try to at least rehearse it verbally. If you can write it, nothing like it, but if you're falling short of time, you may not have to write everything, right? This is for like your own consumption. Okay, so that is how you have to consume this particular PDF. After you have done this is a session taken last year, and a couple of videos that we have recorded this year. So personal HR guideline 1, what I've done is all the questions of personal HR questions PDF, all of that I've answered it here. So me and one of my colleague Rohit Verma from IIM Cal, we guys have shot this video, and I've answered all the questions of personal HR from this PDF. So ideally you guys should not be having any question because we haven't explained kiya अच्छे से. Then this personal HR guideline 2 is something that you should see after guideline 1. Again, it gives you some framework about gap year, about important questions. So these 2 videos typically cover 95 to 98% of your percentage HR questions that can possibly be asked in an interview, right? तो अपना PDF के आंसर सोच लो दिमाग में, उसके बाद ये देखना, otherwise what will happen is सबका bias आ जाएगा कि यार अच्छा इसी टाइप से आंसर करना है. So at least have your own version of answers before watching these videos. Then profile map is something I believe everyone has created. For new students, guys, you're expected to create a profile map like this and upload it in a Google Drive, which you can find in the Google Sheet. Okay, then a couple of videos on gap year. Shashank Kashyap is again an IIM Ahmedabad alum and a mentor here. He had a gap year of 1. So hence he has taken a video on how do you justify gap year. So people with gap year of greater than 6 months or 1 year may want to watch this video. Then I've also uploaded some sample answers from my side. So these were the answers that I've prepared. Again, do not copy it. You can write it much better than me. I have written it like 6, 7, 8 months ago. So my IQ back then was like really low. But at least some answers that I prepared, I've given it to you so that you can at least read, go through it. People who are having communication issues, they can have a look around it, maybe try to consume it and take some inspiration from it while writing the answers. तो यह मैंने अपना इंट्रोडक्शन, वाई मैनेजमेंट, स्पेशलाइजेशन. इफ समवन आस्क मी इन एन इंटरव्यू कि यार कौन सी स्पेशलाइजेशन चूज करनी है, what would I have answered, वो सारे मैंने अपने हिसाब से लिख दिए. पीपल हु आर इन कंसल्टिंग, क्या इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें होती है, वर्क एक्सपीरियंस में क्या फ्रेमवर्क यूज में लेनी है, मिशन क्या है इन लाइफ में, राइट? सो ऑल द इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन आई हैव ट्राइड टू राइट इट माई सेल्फ एंड देन गिव इट टू यू, सो दैट यू अंडरस्टैंड कि when I'm talking about कि एक story attach करना है, what exactly do I mean by it, right? So for example, there was a question in the Google form when someone asked me कि यार sir, how do I answer greatest success? So मतलब ideally if you would have looked at this already तो ये वाला question नहीं आता, because here when I say personal story attach करनी है तो यहाँ पे the story which I said is, see, while I am also from IIT, मतलब बहुत चीजें करी है, I was having a decent job in my interview, but then मतलब don't try to put forward points which are like very much materialistic. यार मेरे को कहीं का गोल्ड मेडल मिला है, या मुझे ये मैंने ओलंपियाड क्रैक कर लिया, और आई स्कोर्ड 99.99 percentile in CAT, this is my greatest success. It just shows a lower version of yours in an interview, right? Greatest success should be something, at least in my opinion, again this is personal HR, so there is no right or wrong answer, but what I personally recommend is every answer should have a personal story. Try to bring an emotional question. Yeah, this person is like really good. वो वाला flavor आना चाहिए. So for example, my answer was कि यार I used to, so like along with my job back in 2012 2013, I used to teach 2-3 students for their IIT-JEE preparation, physics and maths. So I used to teach them after coming from office 7 p.m. I used to teach them. I did it for like 3-4 months. Then JEE ka paper has happened. And then jab JEE ka result aaya, the parents of these children came to my flat and then they said me, sir, aapki wajah se mere bacche ka JEE nikal gaya. So listening to this statement was like my greatest success. राइट सो इट एटलीस्ट शोज कि यार स्टोरी रियल है. मैं कुछ डायरेक्ट स्पीच में आई एम यूजिंग लैंग्वेज फ्रॉम हिंदी और माय रीजनल लैंग्वेज so that it looks very much realistic, and then the answer sort of touches my heart, right? So these are the answers that I've used in my interviews. In fact, matlab you guys would not believe it, but when I was in IIM Cal first year में I was having an internship offer. एक्सेंचर बेन इनके में इंटरव्यूज दे रहा था. वहां पे भी आई यूज द एग्जैक्ट सेम आंसर. वहां पे भी मुझसे पूछा था कि यार लाइक व्हाट इज दैट हैप्पीएस्ट मोमेंट इन योर लाइफ. हैप्पीएस्ट मोमेंट पूछ लो, ग्रेटेस्ट सक्सेस पूछ लो, इट्स सेम. एंड आई यूज द एग्जैक्ट सेम स्टोरी. एंड मतलब माय इंटरव्यू really got cracked and I ended up in some consulting company for my internship, right? So these are the answers that that people usually feel connected to. So दैट्स व्हाट आई मीन. बाकी एक बार इसको ग्लैंस कर लो. इसमें काफी नीचे फ्रेमवर्क्स वगैरह वो सब मैंने लिखा है, राइट? कि फ्रेमवर्क्स क्या होती है, कौन कौन सी कहाँ पे अप्लाई करनी है. इट्स अ लॉन्ग पीडीएफ, बट देन थोड़ा सा टाइम दो एंड यू वुड बी एबल टू एटलीस्ट गेट ऑल द आंसर्स इन ही सम, एंड यू वुड नॉट नीड एनी अदर एक्सटर्नल हेल्प. तो ये सब देख लो, कर लो, एंड देन एंड ऑफ कोर्स आई डोंट एक्सपेक्ट यू गाइस कि तुम सीधा जाके पीडीएफ वाले क्वेश्चंस आंसर कर दोगे, बट एटलीस्ट व्हाट आई एक्सपेक्ट इज कि try to bifurcate the entire PDF into different sections. Ki the first version of PDF can be those important questions. Why MBA? Tell me something about yourself. Daily 4-5 answers likho, important, right? And then at least the basic answers is something that you should go and submit to your mentor. Ki sir ye maine answers likh diye, ek baar aap isko review kar lo. Let the mentor consume it. So preferably do it in a Google Doc. I mean, as an MBA, every mentor loves commenting on Google Doc. So do it in a Google Doc is what I would recommend, so that mentors can directly edit. They can comment, give them a comment access or give them edit access, whatever suits you. But wo access de dena mentor ko, so that they can start reviewing it while you start finishing up the other things. So this is how you have to manage your entire workload and balance out things. कि यार एक साथ मतलब ऐसा मत करना कि एक हफ्ते तक तुम मेंटर से बात नहीं कर रहे हो, एक हफ्ते तक सारे आंसर्स लिख रहे हो, एंड देन मेंटर से इसकी यार सब कुछ बेकार है. So hence try to bifurcate it, use agile framework, do something, then send it to mentor, get a review, and then start focusing on the remaining questions. ठीक है, अभी तक any doubt? It was monotonous, but I mean any questions? Has everyone understood क्या करना है, कैसे करना है? ठीक है, awesome. So now I've covered the basics की क्या कैसे करना है, and these answers are made like really good. तो एक बार ये सब देख लो, it will clear every doubt of yours. Now what I'll do is I'll go through those questions. Maybe I'll just remove the identity and I'll try to answer questions line by line. Okay. So I'll just share the screen once again. And then after this, I will take all the other questions. If at all you guys were not able to put your questions in the Q&A or is not answered, तो फिर मुझे बता देना. ठीक है? So whatever questions, either if those are not in the videos, I will answer it right now. I'll give some pinch of advice, or at least if it is already answered in the video, I'll guide you guys कि तुम्हें क्या कैसे करना है. Short term and long term. See, short term, again, there is no right or wrong answer कि short term क्या होता है. Is it like अभी क्या करना है या 4 साल में क्या करना है, ये short term है, या फिर long term क्या है? Excuse me. So if an interviewer asks me कि hey Shubham, what are your short term and the long term goals? So my very first question will be, sir, my short term goals, assuming a time range of next 1 to 3 years, is this. So जब भी तुम आंसर्स दो ना पर्सनल एचआर में, अपने साइड से प्ले सेफ एंड अपने साइड से पुट फॉरवर्ड अ वेरी ऑब्जेक्टिव वे ऑफ डिफाइनिंग शॉर्ट टर्म एंड सर लॉन्ग टर्म एज पर मी इज से like 10 years down the line, so that you and the interviewer is on the same page. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि तुम कुछ बोल रहे हो एंड इंटरव्यूअर इज लाइक यार ये लॉन्ग टर्म कैसे होगा, अब मैं तो 30 साल बाद की बोल रहा हूँ. तो जो भी एम्बिग्विटी होगी ना क्वेश्चंस में, which will happen, and the interviewer also expects you to be proactive, listen to the question very carefully, and sort of address all the ambiguities, make well assumptions, but do state it while answering it. So short term is say somewhere between 0 to 2 years from now. So short term usually मेरे लिए तो वही होता है 0 to 3 years कि यार अगले 1-2 साल में क्या करना है is my like short term goal. Right? Long term is like ठीक है 8-10 मतलब 10 years 10-15 years के time range में मुझे क्या करना है. That is what I would define as my long term. So assuming this definition, short term ideally should be, it should not be job lena and all. It should be right. I mean, I want to come up with an open mind. So like one more piece of advice, especially for personal HR is don't sound very choosy कि hey I'm coming from a BCom, मुझे तो CFA level 2 कर रखा है, मुझे finance में जाना है. Try to sound very modest in an interview and try to present yourself as a learner and not as a very arrogant person who is like sir मुझे तो सब आता है ना. तो always have that line or that pinch of element in your answers ki hey while like so if for example one question here was sir specialization kaun sa loge, right? So at least I would always address it sir uh, while I want to come up with an open mind in the B school of yours and I want to explore the first year because first year of all the B schools are common, especially the top B schools. अगर आप SP Gen में जैसे specialization नहीं कर रहे हो, right? तो first year तो एक common ही होगा and you won't choose any specialization. So best and the safest answer could be I want to come with an open mind, go and learn. सारे subjects लूंगा मैं first year में, right? I will participate in different case studies and then I would try to make a decision. कि once I have experienced a flavor of all the subjects, then I would be in a better state to decide कि मेरा कहाँ पे interest आ रहा है. But अगर उसके बाद भी push करते हैं, then of course you can always say. But with my limited understanding, knowledge, and background right now, I feel specialization of say finance is going to make more sense to me because I am from commerce background and I have an inclination in finance. I've been reading finance news. I've started following say Damodaran ka valuation exercise. I start following stock market. If this is something that you really do, right? So this is how you should answer it. Ki this is the specialization that I feel could be good for me. But then again, I want to not restrain myself right now. I want to come up with an open mind and then I'll figure it out. But again, if you see in this answer, I've used the word stock market because this is what is my strongest suit. And I wanted the interviewer to ask me questions on stock market. So very subtly, मैंने सामने से क्वेश्चन था स्पेशलाइजेशन कौन सी है, इसमें कहीं फिट नहीं होता स्टॉक मार्केट का मेरा हॉबी है, राइट? बट देन वेरी सडनली आई हैव जस्ट पुट इन दीज कीवर्ड्स इन से कोट्स इन कोट्स स्टॉक मार्केट. तो ऑफ कोर्स मतलब इफ देयर इज एनीवन हु इज लिसनिंग टू दिस आंसर ही वुड टेक अवे द कीवर्ड्स फ्रॉम योर आंसर एंड देन ही वुड आस्क अच्छा यू सेड दैट यू हैव एन इंटरेस्ट इन स्टॉक मार्केट, तुम फॉलो कर रहे हो, बताओ सेंसेक्स क्या है, निफ्टी क्या है, व्हाट आर दोस 50 कंपनीज, बीएससी क्या होता है, कब बना है, हु इज द like a key person, how do you determine valuation kya hota, right? So all of those things is something then you can at least put your point forward given this is something that is again your strongest suit. So this is the biggest art of driving the interviewer. बहुत channels पे you would have seen कि यार interview तो तुम्हें drive करना रहता है, right? So this is how you do it कि जो भी तुम्हारे starting का 1 minute जो तुम्हारा interview का होता है, right? That is what gives you that power कि यार interview तुम drive करोगे या फिर interviewer drive करेगा. The chances of success is super high, roughly 3x 4x if you are the person who is driving the interview, right? अगर तुम्हें पता है कि यार मेरा strongest suit से maths है, अपने introduction में, अपने why MBA में, strength में, tell me something about yourself में, work experience में, graduation में, हर answer में उन buzzwords को डाल दो. So this is what I've done. And maybe if you guys, so for example, my GK was like super shitty. Right, unlike Prashant sir, my GK was not good back then. Abhi to I started reading, but my entire GK and current affairs was like really sad. But what I knew is that maths is my strongest suit. So I don't mind this guy asking me anything, right? From maths ka PhD level to maths ka undergrad level to CAT level, anything I will be able to do it. वो मेरा confidence था. So my simple strategy was यार अगर इस बंदे ने मुझसे ज्योग्राफी या कुछ हिस्ट्री या कुछ करंट अफेयर्स पूछ लिया देन तो इंटरव्यू गया हाथ से. But I wanted the interviewer to ask me questions on maths. And that's what happened to my IIM Calcutta interview. Not sure if you guys had a look at my IIM Calcutta interview transcript. I would recommend go and have a look at it. या तो वेबसाइट पे होगा या नॉर्मल गूगल पे सर्च कर लो शुभम रांका IIM Calcutta interview experience. बहुत सारे पब्लिशर ने पब्लिश किया था. तो वहां पे तुमको मिल जाएगा, राइट? सो देयर एटलीस्ट मेरे सारे आंसर्स में वाई एमबीए में मैंने मैथ्स डाला था। टेल मी समथिंग अबाउट योरसेल्फ में मेरी लास्ट लाइन थी कि मेरा हॉबी इज मैथ्स, आई ट्राई टू सॉल्व कॉम्पिटिटिव क्वेश्चंस ऑन डिफरेंट ग्रुप्स, एंड माय इंटरव्यू वाज लाइक 80% ऑन मैथ्स। दे आस्क्ड मी क्वेश्चंस ऑन सीक्वेंस, सीरीज, डेरिवेशन पूछा, टेलर सीरीज पूछा, डिफरेंशियल इक्वेशन पूछा, फंक्शनल सीरीज पूछा। दे आस्क्ड मी टू प्रूव कि 1+1 = 2। तो उस लेवल पे जाके they asked me maths, but then I wanted them to ask me these questions, right? And that is why पूरा इंटरव्यू उस डायरेक्शन में गया, एंड देन आई न्यू कि ठीक है, मतलब लाइक हो ही जाएगा इंटरव्यू तो, क्योंकि बिकॉज इट वाज फ्रॉम माय स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट सूट। सो जस्ट नॉट बोस्टिंग माई सेल्फ बट जस्ट गिविंग यू सम टिप्स कि दिस इज हाउ, एंड आई एम श्योर एवरी पर्सन हैज सम और द अदर स्पाइक, चाहे गेम्स में होगा, चाहे एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर में होगा, चाहे करंट अफेयर्स में होगा, चाहे स्टॉक मार्केट में होगा, चाहे कुकिंग में होगा, ट्रैवलिंग में होगा, पढ़ाई में होगा, वॉट एवर इट इज। Try to find that 1 or 2 spike within yourself, take some time for that, and try to put that element in your SOPs or your personal HR answers. Okay. So yeah, coming back to this, short and long term goals is something I said. Short term क्या होता है? Short term में usually कि मेरे को अभी तो कॉलेज में आना है, केस स्टडीज में पार्टिसिपेट करना है, I want to experience the real case studies and try to learn from the failures of different startups and different companies and try to learn so that I don't end up making those mistakes. And long term goal is कि यार once मैंने MBA कर लिया, I would try and find job in whatever area of specialization that suits me. And वो सब करने के बाद at least after say like 10 years of working, I want to be at a position where I want to go back and contribute to the society in whatever shape and format. So try to add some element. अगर finance में जाना है तो I believe that I want to be say a CFO or some top management level person of a finance company, and the reason is because I want to be at a decision making stakeholder level so that I can go back, contribute basis my decisions to the society. But थोड़ा पढ़ लेना कि मतलब how would you do it, right? थोड़ा सा tangible plan होना चाहिए. But then this answer sounds absolutely perfect to me because it has an element of empathy, so social cause in your answers. Okay. Then your biggest achievement at work, again, I think I've answered it. So see, if someone is asking, right, कि तुम्हारा biggest achievement at work क्या है, मतलब of course it can be either very direct कि यार काम में ये project किया, इससे इतना impact हुआ, इतना मैंने उखाड़ा चीजें, right? That can be first way of answering this. Second way could be कि यार मैंने ना training किया, लोगों का crunch हो रहा था, एक project आ गया था मेरी team में, I had to finish that project in say 2 months, but we were really short of bandwidth. So what I did was I requested my manager, हमने एक पूरा training session Python पे लिया, we all learned this new language and then we tried to execute it. We knew कि यार नहीं हो पाएगा, but then I tried to stay motivated. मैंने अपने juniors को motivate किया, right? वो सारी चीजें करने के बाद we all worked as a team and we tried to submit this particular project. This is something that I feel as my biggest achievement because यहाँ पे I've demonstrated teamwork, I've learned myself, I've helped others. So again, because this answer has a social cause, if there are 2 persons with equal caliber, I would rate this answer more than the second one. But ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर ये आंसर होना ही होना है, अगर है तो डालो, नहीं हो तो फेक मत डालना. मतलब one thing about the interview is don't fake it. Do not fake it. The interviewers will be able to figure out unless कुछ है ही नहीं, profile is 0 on 0, तब जाके fake कर लो. Because then you will have to fake for survival, right? But unless that is the case, don't fake it. Try to figure out some cases. मतलब ऐसा भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि बहुत ज्यादा बड़ा चढ़ा के बोलना है, but everyone will have some minor cases and it's fine. The interviewer loves to listen to the actual stories rather than the made up stories. So cool. First question is done. Any questions until now?
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, please go on. Your name?
Sir, yes, sir. I also love mathematics, but if I say I have interest in mathematics, so what kind of questions they can ask? Like I am not a engineer, so will they ask derivatives or somewhat?
Yeah, see, they are always going to ask you based on the things that you have done, right? So, I mean, when you're saying I love doing mathematics, what does it mean? Either you have to be like very specific in your answer. While I know I'm not from an engineering background, but still based on my family's background and since childhood, my father has pushed me to like maths, and that's why I really love doing mathematics. And in mathematics particularly, these are the topics that I love doing, exploring and all. But then again, it should not be like, CAT based ki मुझे algebra पसंद है. मतलब every CAT aspirant को algebra आता है. So it has to be something different than the CAT syllabus. Whatever it is, just put forward those points and then interviewer can ask you. ठीक है, एक बार वो मेरा इंटरव्यू एक्सपीरियंस भी देख लेना, उससे भी यू वुड गेट अ सेंस, बिकॉज आई वाज एन इंजीनियर एंड आई हैव बीन, मैंने बहुत ज्यादा मैथ्स बोला था. सो देन तो दे वेंट लाइक रियली इन डेप्थ, एंड व्हाट हैपेंड कोइंसिडेंटली वाज दैट देयर वाज अ पर्सन डीयू का हु वाज अ पीएचडी इन मैथ्स सिटिंग इन माय इंटरव्यू पैनल. सो उसने तो मुझे पूरा पीएचडी वाला मैथ्स भी पूछा, बट देन लकीली मैंने ग्रेजुएशन में मैथ्स के इलेक्टिव्स ले रखे थे. So I had decent idea to answer those questions.
Sir, I have a doubt. Let's say you told, right, I have interest in mathematics. It's
Correct.
kind of a good hobby. Can we say we have interest in hockey or interest in cricket? Is it valid or it's not?
Absolutely anything. Just say whatever you really like doing, whatever you do, whatever are your hobbies, उसके बारे में बस थोड़ा background पढ़ लो, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Right? Hobbies can be anything. I love to travel. I love listening to podcast. मतलब it can be as blunt as possible. Of course, I saw one comment सार्थक का कि phone चलाना hobby नहीं होता, but anything that is tangible. चलो, let's move on because we have 30 minutes. 10 p.m. पे you have another session. What makes you unique, or why shall we select you? Are such questions need to be answered in different way for different institution after having a careful assessment of the vision and mission statement. Yeah, no. See, what makes you unique, or why shall we select you? It is essentially a different way of asking your strengths, right? So here, ideally, it should be like you should start with your strengths. Sir, I believe that I would be a perfect candidate for, say, your institute, say, IIM Rohtak, right? And I believe it because I've been doing these one or two things. यहाँ ऐसा नहीं 3-4 strength बोल रहे हो, एक दो example दो, example के साथ एक या दो strength बोलो. Moreover, I've also seen कि IIM Rohtak में भी इस तरीके के professors है, इस तरीके के courses है, so I feel that I'm going to be a best fit for the institute. तो yes, थोड़ा सा institute specific answer होना चाहिए, and थोड़ा बहुत अपना strength का mixture होना चाहिए. You have to combine both of these things, both of these two things. Next is I'm not sure as to how to justify my cost of opportunity. I've seen the justification in the. Okay. Yeah, matlab, okay. This is तो more like a factual question. It's like, how do you justify opportunity cost of your MBA, right? So, just go Google once ki opportunity cost kya hota hai. Opportunity cost is like, ki if you're not doing something, right, then what is the net cost that you're going to bear? For example, तुम 2 साल job नहीं करोगे and you're going for an MBA 2 years program, then your opportunity cost is going to be जो 2 साल की salary आएगी, right, वो तुम्हें नहीं मिलेगी, plus जो तुम्हारा MBA का फीस है, right? तो ये 2-3-4 चीजें मिला के तुम अपना आंसर बनाओगे. It has but this is more like a factual question. Just एक बार opportunity cost का formula देख लो and you'll be able to answer it. If there is anyone who asked this question in the video, if you wanted to ask something else, please feel free to unmute and ask me. But then, यहाँ पे एक line है, how do you justify my cost of opportunity, right? So again, this is nothing but why MBA. You have to put forward कि यार, while financial thing is something, but in the longer run, I believe I'm going to add a lot of skill set to my horizontal skills, right? And all of these skill set is something that I'm going to learn from my MBA, which is going to help me in my short term, long term, medium term career trajectory, and I'll be able to make more impact in the society. I'll be a more responsible citizen. So all of these things are something that is more valuable than, say, X amount of rupees, which I will have to forego for MBA fees plus my job. And because I value this, hence I want to go forward with my option. So इस तरीके से, again, emotional angle that you value, that you give more weightage to the value and the skill set than the money is sort of coming out from this answer.
Sir, I have a question on this. So can we say we are interested in a particular domain specifically, right? Let's say if I'm very interested in marketing and I see that where I'm working, I might not get that roles, but once I'm through MBA, just I'm saying we can do it in a refined version. But should we say any particular domain on it? Should we keep it generic? Like MBA is good.
Yeah, I to prefer. See, matlab one hard truth of MBA is I wanted to go into finance because I thought कि यार I love maths, finance में numbers होंगे, और मुझे वैसे finance का opportunity मिलेगा नहीं, so let's go for an MBA. This was my actual reason.
Okay.
In MBA, my internship was into consulting and my placement was into product management. And the professors know how does the placement happen, right? So
Okay.
why you want to go for an MBA, that is something that is not 100% guaranteed. So it is possible that you would end up in say general management while you wanted to go for a consulting. And अगर सामने से इंटरव्यू ने ग्रिल किया तो मतलब कर लेगा, राइट, कि यार तुमको मार्केटिंग में जाना है, बट अगर मार्केटिंग में नहीं मिला फिर, and then you will be blank कि यार मेरे को मार्केटिंग के लिए जाना है. My entire answer of why MBA is because I want to go into marketing. और अगर वो बोलेगा कि मार्केटिंग में जाना है, माइका में जाओ, यहाँ पे अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं आ रही, रोल्स नहीं आ रहे, कोविड इम्पैक्ट है, then you would feel the heat. इसलिए बेटर है to sort of generalize it and then at least give a subtle flavor ki while my current role is this and it gives me ABC skill, but I'm slightly more inclined towards marketing and I would like to experience the electives of marketing and then figure out a career trajectory for me. But then your answer should also state ki why are you interested in marketing, ऐसा क्या किया है तुमने जिससे तुम्हें पता है कि marketing होता क्या है.
Okay.
It should not be random कि यार कहीं से सुना वो भैया मार्केटिंग कर रहे हैं तो मुझे मार्केटिंग करना है. यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड कि मार्केटिंग क्या होता है, और फिर मार्केटिंग बोल रहे हो तो थोड़ा मार्केटिंग के बारे में पढ़ना पड़ेगा कि पोर्टर्स 5 क्या होते हैं, 4 P's क्या होते हैं, 4 C's क्या होते हैं, व्हाट इज मार्केटिंग, नीड एंड वांट में क्या डिफरेंसेस है. सो ऑल ऑफ दोस बेसिक क्वेश्चंस ऑफ स्पेशलाइजेशन you guys have to prepare if you want to name any specialization.
So can I ask just one question on this if you
Yeah.
have a minute? Sir, like if we have done some startup, though it's a failed startup, right? Like we closed it. So is it a good reason to say that, okay, that's why I'm interested in marketing because I handled the marketing division of that startup?
हाँ, मतलब इससे तो see whether it's a success or a failure, if you have done something significant, no matter whether it succeeded or failed, you should definitely bring forward that point.
Okay.
This is what I did, and I think I failed because I lacked different knowledge points of this domain, and I believe an MBA can really help me get those knowledge points and the networking which can fulfill me as an individual. So yeah, worth mentioning. And this is for everyone. मतलब अगर कोई failure हुआ है ना तुमका, तो definitely put it as a strength कि ये failure हुआ, this is what I learned and this is what I want to do now. Failure was an inspiration for me to move forward in life and learn. Okay, I think there are someone who is dropping a message. In the interest of time, let me just browse through all the questions and then I will take all the questions. While talking about incidents that impacted you, should we share emotional stories showing a vulnerability or only stories that are pleasant? I think I've already answered it. See, pleasant मतलब क्या होता है? Again, I don't know if it's like कि मैंने gold medal जीता versus कि यार घर में कुछ हो गया था, I handled it, I worked hard, I worked extra time to sort of support my family. I prefer stories that have some emotional questioned into it. Okay, but having said that, both the stories work. It's not कि एक story गलत है. I'm just saying my personal preference. Write both the version of stories, send it to your personal mentor, get an approval from them, and then finalize.